Matt here with a Scrapebox Classroom exclusive video on the Scrapebox Classroom URL Analyzer. Now the Scrapebox Classroom URL Analyzer is one of the many tools that we give away free, and what this tool allows you to do is to basically filter out URL lists based on specified filters. So let's have a look at it. If we launch the tool, we can see that first off we have several filters. Now what we've done is set up a blog comment probable filter, meaning if you harvest a big list of URLs for Scrapebox and you want to know which ones are likely to work with blog comments, so say you harvest 5 million URLs, well, it's going to take a while to run all those to the poster, so you can quickly run this filter and it will pull out the ones that we can roughly say are probably going to work for a blog comment. Now that doesn't mean they're going to be auto approved or anything like that, it just means that Scrapebox is probably going to be able to comment to them. Now there are going to be URLs that don't match our filters that are going to be able to be used with blog comments, and any URLs that don't match a filter, one of these filters you choose here will also be saved off in a file called unmatched. So for maximum efficiency, we recommend that you go ahead and run that file as well for commenting and such. But we've also taken what's trackbacks probable, so you can run these. Now again, the trackbacks is a very light filter, meaning that you'll probably come up with some URLs you can do trackbacks on, but there will be a lot of URLs that you can do trackbacks on that will fall through this filter that it won't filter out. This will be especially effective though if you are one of the people that uses the internal link extractor to extract internal links off of a domain. Then the trackback filter will be expressly applicable. If you're harvesting URLs from Google or Yahoo, for instance, the trackback filter is not going to be as accurate. The everything else quick is going to take out known formats that are not compatible with blogs, commenting, or forums in general. So if it happens to be formats we know work with article directories or with regular directories or Web 2.0 properties and that sort of thing, it will take those out so you don't waste time commenting to all of those. The forums probable, this is centered around creating forum profiles. So if you happen to be scraping your competitors' URLs, so if you take a bunch of competitors and you scrape all their backlinks and you want to find out their backlinks, you can run through this filter and this will pull out the majority of their forum profiles, and then you could use a forum tool, profile creation tool, to go back and get profiles on those same forums as your competitors. And then of course the blog comments will pull out the blog comment probable URLs. And then we have one called dupe comment. Now this is also for people who use the link extractor for extracting internal links. What happens is on a website where there's a comment, each comment URL gets its own URL. So say you have 100 comments on a website, on a blog page. Each one of those comments gets its own URL. As you can see here, this is one particular post. But then this particular URL has comment 18,271, 18,303, 346, 512. So every single comment gets its own URL, and when you run that through the internal link extractor, it pulls all those out because those are technically internal links. So it does what it should, but whenever you go to Scrapebox's remove duplicate URLs, each one of these fits the format of being a unique URL. However, all of these through here, for instance on this post, these are all from a couple of pages, so you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 posts from all of these. But if you run these times tens of thousands or millions of URLs, you could be spending fast poster and sending them through and wasting your time. So what this filter here does, this dupe comment filter, it will remove this and strip it down to just its original post, and you'll be able to just use that. So see, here's an original post of this one right here. So it would save you all the time on that. Now you can also do custom filters and set your own up, but we'll talk about that later. And for now, let's just talk about how to use the tool. So I'm going to leave everything checked. You can give it a project name, which is optional. I'm just going to call this the test project I'm going to hit start, and when I do that, it's going to ask me to choose input files. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to get this file here. Say I scraped up a big list of URLs from my competitors' backlinks or just from Google or whatever. So I'm going to select that. For output, it's asking me to select a folder. So I'm going to go ahead here and choose this output folder. Now what will happen is the tool will generate automatically text files based on these filter names. So anything that you have checked, it's going to come up with and generate a text file for that, and then one for unmatched. And I'll show you how that works in a minute. So let's select output, select the folder. It'll gray out like this when it's done, or when it's working rather. And when it's done, it'll black in. So you can see it ran through there. There was 26,000 URLs in that file, I think. So pretty quick, ran through those. Let's go have a look at what we got. So we have test project here, which is what I named it. So whatever you put in here, it appends to the very beginning of it, all of them, so you can give it a project name, and then afterwards it puts a dash, and then it puts the filter name. So this is blog comment probable, dupe comment, etc. here. So it goes down through here. So if we go to blog comment probable, it stripped out a nice list for us. These are probably able to be used with blog comments. Now, the dupe comment, we can see all the ones that match the duplicate ones there. Then under everything else, we can just see URLs that probably don't fit anything, and you can see based on certain filters, these right here actually are blog commentable. So it picked up a few that were blog commentable, but the rest of these weren't. And to that note, if it matches multiple filters, it'll be saved in each file. So these particular URLs here that were on everything else that we would think aren't able to be blog commented, I can tell by looking at them they are. These were also saved in the blog comment probable file. So you do get a little bit of duplication there. So we did lose a few. They happen to match a filter, and you're going to have that with the different filters that we have, but all of these other URLs aren't going to be ones that, like guest books or whatever, that aren't necessarily applicable. So if a file matches multiple filters, it gets saved in each appropriate filter and duplicated so that we don't lose those files. Then we have forums probable, pulled out lots of forum profile URLs that you can see here that you could go and use to try to get forum profiles. And then we have trackbacks probable. These are ones that are likely able to be submitted trackbacks to. And then we have the unmatched ones. These didn't hit any filters, so they're saved in the unmatched file. And that's how it works as far as actual filtering of the URLs itself. So a couple of notes. The way this works is it uses a filter file, which you'll have in here. This will be when you unzip the app, you'll see all these files like this. The README file is pretty basic. It's going to give you help. The troubleshooting file also is pretty basic. If you have errors and that sort of thing, you would want to check those out. When you're running the application, if there are regex errors, because the filters aren't just regular filters, they also support regular expressions or regex. So if you customize your own filters, which you can do by editing the filters file here, then if you have a malformatted regex, it will catch it and it'll generate this file that looks like this. And so you can see there are regex errors here, and then you can go back through those and fix them. Now, as far as the actual filters file, it's here. There's a secondary filter file that you can see is quite a bit larger. It's called filters full resource intensive. If you want to use this filter, you can. What you need to do is just name this to something else, such as this, and then we would take this and just clear all that name and just call it filters. Now what that's going to do is when you run the application, it will give you another filter that will pop up here. I'll show you, and it will be called everything else full. This includes a list of known directories, known article directories, all kinds of stuff. But the reason that we don't include it by default is that it will take a very, very long time to run through. So depending on the size of your list, you may need to set this and go to bed, or set this and have dinner, and that sort of thing. And you can edit it to include what you want, But depending on the size of your list, if you don't have a lot of memory available on, say, your computer or your VPS, you definitely wouldn't want to be running this sort of list. And so that's how that works as far as being able to use that. Just rename it. And then we have the about file as well. A couple of notes is that you will want to install this redistributable package if you happen to be running a Windows 2003 or Windows 2008 server. By default, it comes installed on most home editions of Windows. However, on server editions and some editions of Windows, this Microsoft Visual C++ 2008 redistributable package isn't installed, and you can get that right here at this URL for free, and this is included in the help file here. And you would want to install that, otherwise the application won't work. So that is the basic functionality of the application, and in a different video on the same channel, YouTube channel that this one will be hosted on, and the video links will be in the README file as well, you can watch the video on how to edit the filters and how that all works. And that is how the Scrapebox Classroom URL Analyzer tool works.